Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob. And this is going to be a repeat video, but we're going to go a little bit more into detail on this one, on how to measure your gun for a barrel band. So, if you need a barrel band made for your gun, don't matter what gun it is, I only need 3 numbers. I need the size of the barrel, I need to know the tank size, I need to know the gap between the tank and the barrel. That's all I need to know. Rest of it's cosmetics. So I have designed this new one, and I've got it posted on my site now for the AEA HP Max 50. As you can see, HP Max 50 cal AEA. So if you've got that gun, now I don't know if the S45 has the same breech. I don't know if it's the same breech or not, but I would almost think that this thing would fit, this barrel band would fit the S45 also. It's got the same size tank. We know the tank's the same size. And the 45 and the 50 usually uses the same exact size outside diameter on the barrel. So I would imagine that it's probably the barrel and the tank is the same, but is the gap the same? But because I think that this is the same breech that they use for the S45, I don't know yet. They make things so damn different. They use the same name to call their guns. They can't think of nothing new. Once they get an idea on a name, that name goes on for the next 5 guns until they decide to come up with a new one. I think they need to hire a new name maker. But anyway, we're getting off subject here. It's just one of them little things that just aggravates the piss out of me when people do this. No gun should have the same exact name. They've got 5 or 6 different Challengers. Challenger Pro, Challenger Long Stock, Challenger this, Challenger that, Big 9 Challenger. Yeah, people can get confused. And I get confused myself. And AEA does a very good job doing that. But anyway, I'm going to tell you how to measure to get a barrel band. So if you call me and say, hey man, I want a barrel band made just like that one, but I want it to fit my gun, then as long as it's close. If you're getting onto a smaller barrel and a smaller tank, then yeah, I have to do a different design for that. This is just big and bulky, and your designing opens up. You can do a whole lot more because you got a lot more places to do things. So this one, I just decided to take them little humps out of it. In fact, I've got one sitting here. I'll go get it and show it to you. Before I get started on this is the barrel band that is for the M50 or HP Max 50, and I took that out just to lighten it, because you only need the 2 places on the end to make a band. All you're doing is just keeping it centered. You're not holding anything down. You're just keeping it centered. It just mainly rests right into the pocket. But I thought that one turned out pretty nice. I also made it so that you can mount a Picatinny rail on the bottom. So you can mount a short one, and I don't have any here laying here that I can show you, but you can mount a little short one, or you can take and put 2 of them together like I've done that. If you got a longer one yet, you can put a 3rd one. I don't know, it's up to you. But I want to make these so that they could be used singly by themselves. So basically, because the Picatinny rails, every manufacturer puts their hole in a different location, I can't really drill these out for you guys. You guys are going to have to do that yourself. So when you get your Picatinny rail and you mount it and hold it there where you want it to be, then you can make your mark, show you where the hole is supposed to be drilled out, tap it for a 1032 screw, and be done with it. So just gotta make sure that you don't go into the tank when you screw. You don't want your screw to bottom out onto your tank. So make sure it's long enough or short enough that it ain't gonna come all the way through. You'll want to drill all the way through so you can tap it, but you don't want the screw to come into your tank and dent it. Of course, you'd probably break the plastic before it would dent the tank. But anyway, I have these available now. I've got 2 of them available. They can be used singly or doubly. If you actually want the spacer, I'll have to add that to the print, because I have 2 of these and a Picatinny rail. I'm not going to sell the Picatinny rail, so I'm going to minus the Picatinny rail unless somebody asks for one. But I'm going to take that and minus it from the print and just do 2 of those and 2 of these. That way, if somebody buys 2 of them and would like to have the center brace, then that's all that is. It's just slid in there, but you would have to use something that would hold it in place. And I'll show you what I mean. See, I've got mine slid on up against a piece of heat shrink, and then this heat shrink is acting as a clamp now. So when this other one went up against it, it sandwiched the 2. Then when this one went up against this one, now it's not going to move. So that actually happened by accident because my print stopped and that's what was left. And I said, well, hell, that's a good idea. I can use that for a center brace for a droop. Or if you had your bipod back here or here, it wouldn't flex up as much. So that's why I added that to this one. Plus, this is a plastic Picatinny rail. I ended up using my metal one for the gun I'm building. That's got me aggravated. So if you notice, I took the video down. So anyway, the first thing you want to do is pretend like I don't have any of this heat shrink on there, because that changes it. I think this is 2 millimeters thick. Once if you squeeze them together, I'm pretty sure. Millimeter. It's 1 millimeter thick, so that means that it's a 1/2 millimeter thick, and when you put both of them together, it makes a millimeter. So I have to, if I was putting this on the heat shrink and I didn't want this to be 3 pieces, I would have to make that hole 1 millimeter bigger. And then that makes the sidewall thinner, and I'd have to add to it. We don't want to add to it, so I just decided that we'd get 1 millimeter more of material by just using a 3-piece. And I think it looks great. So the first thing you want to do is you want to measure with your caliper, 0 it, your barrel, and you want to put it on the flat part. And then you look at it and you move it until it's got the smallest number. So I'm looking at 20.18, 17, 20.17. So I'll write that number down. So we got the barrel, we got the tank, and then we've got the gap. So I'll just draw me a line there. So we've got 20.17. Alright, then we need to measure the tank. Now, my tank has this wrap on it, so we're going to minus it 1 millimeter. That would give me my correct measurements. So we're looking at 53.69. 53.71. So that is 53.71. Alright. Then I'll take my feeler gauges that you would use to check the gap on your spark plug or points or whatever. And the best place to measure these is as close back to the breech as you can get, because you want the gap between your tank and your barrel to be exactly the same here as it is here, or here as it is here. But there's two ways you can do this. You can take the scope off of it and use the calipers to get in there, but these tanks are 50 millimeters, or 53, or 52.71. Remember, I forgot to minus the 1 millimeter. Minus 1 millimeter. Alright, so because I have my scope on here and I'm just trying to show you how to do this, I would take the scope off if I was actually measuring this and get it right here so that I can get it exactly the same up here. But let's just pretend that right here is where the breech is, because I'm not taking my scope off and resighting. So I just start stacking these things in there until I get it too tight, and then I'll just minus one. And minus another one. That's tight. Still tight. Alright, so we've got, I think I'm going to minus the thin one and put that heavier one there. That thick one was the one that caused me a problem. Alright, so I think we got the size that we need. So then you take your calipers, and this is going to be your gap. Boy, that don't look right. It's not. Yeah, that's more like it. It was squeezed out, because you see when I squeeze it and let off, it squeezes out. Well, that's what it was doing. It was making me think that it was tight. So I had to put it in there to where it's got a nice firm slide in it. Alright, and you're going to be doing that up here, so there's not going to be any flex in this. If you do it out here, there'll be flex, and it's going to give you a false reading. And then when you get your barrel band, you're going to be like, well, that dumbass Bison don't know how to make barrel bands because he's just stupid. I get blamed for it. So don't blame me, guys. So then now that I've got that gap, I'm going to measure that gap with the sharp part, not the flat part. And we're looking at 3.9 millimeters. So 3.09 millimeters. So this is how you give a measurement for a barrel band. Alright, this one here is your barrel, gap, and tank. Alright, so this is how you measure to get me to make you a barrel band. Now, I'm not going to adjust. If you adjust, that's on you. But I'm not going to adjust for the simple reason, you know, for the squeeze out, because every print's different. You can't get an exact. You can get it right one time, but with the same number less than what your total amount is, it would be different the next time. So when you give me the measurement, that's what I'm going to put in. So basically what I do is I make this one, and I make this one, then I turn one of them into a hole, because it makes it clear, you can see through it. And then I'll butt these up against each other until it just touches. And then I will back it off 3.19. So I'll go back 3 millimeters, then change it to 0.9, back it off another 9.9 millimeters, and that will give me the distance between it. Then you lock these two together, you're done. Everything else can be made around it. So anyway, that's how you measure for a barrel band, and it doesn't matter what gun you have, I can make a barrel band for it. So if you want one made, that's what is involved with you giving me the information. That's the information I need to make this. So the best way to do it is just take your scope off. If you want it to be really accurate, you're still going to have filing to do because of the squeeze out. And when you file, you're going to start filing all the way around it, the same amount all the way around it. Then you do it again after you test it. Do it again until you get it. Make sure that file is flat all the way across as you're filing it. You don't want to be filing to where, let's say this is the bottom of the area and this is your file. You don't want to be filing like that. You don't want to be filing like that, because see, that's wrong. It even made an X to tell you it's wrong. You want it to be going parallel with the bottom hole here, all the way across it. So there's no getting around that. You're just going to have to live with it, or find somebody to make you one that fits so loose that it just breaks every time you turn around. Because every one of them are different. I'm telling you guys, every one of these guns are different. It don't matter if I had 10 of these, identical. There's going to be slight variations in them. Barrel may be slightly different in every little 0.0 whatever, point millimeters makes a difference. So if you're wrong on this, and you're right on the gap, and you're wrong on the tank, it's not going to work right. So if you're wrong on the tank, and you're right on the barrel, and you're right on the gap, it ain't going to work. So you need to be right on all three of them. All three of them numbers are very important. Anyway, hope you guys are having your Bison Trump coffee, or Trump Bison, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Working on a wood splitter. So no, I'm not doing no videos on it, because I ended up having to do a whole lot of stuff to it that just wasn't worth my time. Plus it's freaking cold out there. Right now I think it's like 38 degrees, if not less. That was 2 hours ago. Yep, it's 30 degrees now. But anyway, if anybody's interested in the M50 barrel band, I got them ready. I am also allowing stainless steel set screws to go with them, and I'll show you those set screws right now. These here are the set screws that I use in mine. Now I sell all mine with plastic ones, but this particular band I'm going to go ahead and do, since it's a 50 cal, you need something a little bit stronger. So we're just using flat bottoms on it. So these are orientated in a way that that flat part hits flat against the tank. So basically this is in the, if I was to go and drill that straight on through, it'd be directly across from it. Same thing with this one over here. You want it to be in an X pattern. If they was set screws under here, they would go across from each other. So that's the set screws that this will go with. Now if somebody wanted this set screw for theirs and they wanted to change it, that's fine. But this one here, I'm going to make that mandatory for this band. So that's how you measure for your barrel band, so that I can make you one. You guys have a good one. Later.